Every single day, you wake up with 24 hours, the same 24 hours given to every great leader, every successful entrepreneur, every person who ever changed the world. So why do some people build empires while others barely survive? The answer is simple. They own their time. Most people drift through life reacting to everyone else's agenda, everyone else's emergencies, everyone else's needs, while their own dreams quietly die in silence. They stay busy, but never productive. They stay moving, but never forward. Here's the truth no one tells you. Time is not just money, time is your life. Every minute you give away carelessly is a piece of yourself you will never get back. The moment you decide to take control of your hours, you take control of your destiny. This is not about working harder, it's about working with intention. It's about waking up every morning and choosing yourself first. Your focus is your superpower, and your time is your most sacred resource. The life you want is waiting, but it will not wait forever. Every single morning, the alarm goes off, and the world immediately starts pulling at you. Your phone lights up with notifications. Messages pour in. Someone needs a favor. Someone has a problem. Someone has a request that just can't wait. And before you have even had a single moment to think about your goals, your plans, your life, you are already 3 steps deep into someone else's agenda. This is not an accident. This is a pattern. And if you don't break it consciously, it will repeat itself every single day until years have passed, and you are left wondering where the time went. The hard truth is that most people are not living their lives. They are responding to their lives. They wake up in reaction mode, and they go to bed in reaction mode. Every decision made is based on what feels urgent in the moment, what someone else is demanding, what the noise around them is screaming the loudest. They confuse being busy with being purposeful. They confuse constant movement with actual progress. But busyness without direction is just organized chaos, and deep down, you already know that. Here is what separates the people who achieve greatness from the people who only dream about it. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even intelligence. It is the ability to decide, deliberately, consciously, and unapologetically, how their time will be spent before the world gets a chance to decide for them. They wake up with a plan. They protect their mornings. They guard their focus like it is the most valuable thing they own, because it is. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you are saying no to something that matters. Every time you pick up your phone out of habit, every time you agree to a meeting that has no purpose, every time you allow an interruption to pull you away from deep work, you are making a choice. It may not feel like a choice in the moment. It may feel automatic, even unavoidable. But it is a choice. And the accumulation of those small, unconscious choices is what builds, or destroys, the life you are trying to create. You have to reach a point where you become ruthless, not with people, but with your time. Where you draw a line and say, this hour belongs to me, this goal belongs to me, this dream belongs to me. Not out of selfishness, but out of deep, unshakable self-respect. Because nobody is coming to protect your time for you. Nobody is going to stand at the door of your morning and turn away the distractions. That responsibility belongs to you and you alone. And once you truly accept that responsibility, once you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it, something begins to shift inside you. You start showing up differently. You start feeling a sense of control you haven't felt in years. But controlling your time is only half the equation. Because even when you clear the noise, even when you sit down ready to work, there is still one deeper question you must answer honestly. Look closely at how you spend your Tuesday afternoon. Look at where your Sunday morning goes. Look at the hours between when you finish your responsibilities and when you finally fall asleep. Because in those unguarded, unscripted moments, when nobody is watching, when there is no deadline pushing you, when you are completely free to choose, that is where your real priorities live. Not in what you say you want. Not in the goals you write down in a journal. But in what you actually do when the choice is entirely yours. Most people will tell you their family is their priority, yet they scroll mindlessly through a phone screen while their children sit in the same room. Most people will tell you their health matters more than anything, yet they skip the workout for the 5th consecutive week without a second thought. Most people will tell you they have big dreams, enormous ambitions, a vision for a life that sets their soul on fire, yet they spend 4 hours a night consuming content that belongs to someone else's life. There is a painful gap between what people say they value and what their daily time actually reflects. And that gap does not lie. This is not about guilt. This is not about shame. This is about awareness. Raw, honest, uncomfortable awareness. Because until you are willing to look at that gap without flinching, without making excuses, without blaming your schedule or your circumstances or the people around you, nothing will change. The calendar never lies. The clock never lies. They simply record, with perfect neutrality, exactly what you decided mattered most on any given day. And if you do not like what they are recording, the power to rewrite that record is completely in your hands. The deepest reason people avoid protecting their time is not laziness. It is something far more personal than that. It is a quiet, unspoken belief that their goals are not quite worthy enough to be protected. That their dreams are too big, too risky, or too selfish to justify saying no to others. That somehow, putting themselves first is a character flaw rather than an act of courage. So they keep shrinking. They keep postponing. They keep filling their hours with everything and everyone except the one person whose potential they are slowly suffocating, themselves. What you tolerate in your schedule, you are silently endorsing. Every hour given to something that does not align with your deepest values is a quiet vote against yourself. And over time, those votes accumulate into a life that feels vaguely wrong, not dramatically broken, not in crisis, but just slightly off. Like you are living someone else's version of your story. Like you are playing a role that was never quite written for you. That feeling is not weakness. That feeling is your instinct trying to tell you something important, that you are worth far more than the time you are currently investing in yourself. When you begin to align how you spend your hours with what you genuinely believe you deserve, everything around you starts to reorganize. Your energy shifts. Your confidence grows. Your sense of purpose sharpens into something you can actually feel in your chest every morning when you wake up. But here is what most people never realize. Aligning your time with your values is not just a scheduling decision. It requires something deeper. It requires a kind of inner discipline that the world around you will constantly test, constantly challenge, and constantly try to pull apart. There is a question that most people never ask themselves, not because they are afraid of the answer, but because they have never been taught that the question even exists. It is not a question about strategy or skill or opportunity. It is far more intimate than any of that. It is simply this. Do you actually believe you deserve the life you say you want? Not on the surface. Not in the motivational quote version of yourself that shows up when you are feeling inspired. But deep down, in the quiet corners of your mind where no one else is allowed, do you truly, honestly believe that your goals are worth fighting for? That your dreams are worth protecting? That you are worth the effort it takes to become who you are capable of becoming? For a vast majority of people, the honest answer is no. Not because they are broken. Not because they lack ambition. But because somewhere along the way, through criticism absorbed in childhood, through failures that were never properly processed, through comparison to others that slowly carved away at their confidence, they developed a silent story about themselves. A story that whispers you are not quite enough. That people like you don't get to have things like that. That wanting more is somehow arrogant, unrealistic, or naive. And the devastating thing about that story is that it does not announce itself. It does not arrive with a warning label. It simply operates invisibly in the background, quietly making decisions on your behalf. Decisions that keep you small, keep you safe, and keep you exactly where you are. This is why two people can be handed the exact same opportunity and walk away with completely different results. This is why someone can read every book, attend every seminar, consume every piece of advice available, and still find themselves stuck in the same patterns, the same cycles, the same frustrating loop of almost but not quite. Because information alone cannot override a deeply held belief about your own worth. Strategy cannot outrun self-doubt. Discipline cannot survive long in a mind that fundamentally does not believe the destination is truly meant for it. Until the internal story changes, the external results will keep reflecting the same old chapter. Self-worth is not arrogance. It is not vanity. It is not the loud, performative confidence you see people wearing like a costume on social media. Real self-worth is quiet. It is the steady, unshakable inner knowing that your time matters, that your energy has value, that the vision living inside you deserves to be taken seriously, by you, first and foremost. It is what allows you to say no without guilt. It is what allows you to invest in yourself without feeling selfish. It is what allows you to walk away from things that diminish you, and walk toward things that challenge you to grow, even when growth feels terrifying. The moment you begin to genuinely raise your own sense of worth, not fake it, not perform it, but actually cultivate it through the daily choice of showing up for yourself, your relationship with time transforms completely. You stop giving your best hours to things that drain you. You stop shrinking your ambitions to fit other people's comfort levels. You stop apologizing for needing space to pursue the things that matter to you. Because you have finally understood something that changes everything, that you are not being selfish by valuing yourself. You are simply refusing to betray the potential that was placed inside you for a reason. And when that realization lands, truly lands, not just intellectually but in your bones, in the way you carry yourself through a room, in the way you begin each morning, something remarkable starts to happen. The excuses begin to dissolve. The procrastination begins to lose its grip. The fear of failure begins to feel smaller than the fear of never truly trying. You stop waiting for permission from the world and start giving it to yourself. But here is what most people discover at exactly this point in their journey. That self-worth without consistent, daily action is still just potential sitting in a jar with the lid screwed on tight. And that action, taken in small intentional doses every single day, holds a power that most people have dangerously underestimated. Nobody builds a great life in a single dramatic moment. There is no one day where everything suddenly clicks, where the heavens open and transformation descends upon you like a lightning bolt. The people who achieve lasting success, who build things of genuine meaning, who wake up years from now living a life that actually reflects their deepest values, they got there through something far less glamorous than a single breakthrough. They got there through small, consistent, intentional actions repeated quietly, day after day, long after the motivation had faded and long before the results were visible. Think about what a single focused hour a day truly means over the course of a year. 365 hours of deliberate, purposeful effort invested into the one thing that matters most to you. That is more than 9 full working weeks dedicated entirely to your growth, your vision, your future. Most people cannot find 1 hour, not because it does not exist, but because it has never been protected. And yet, that single hour, compounded over months and years, is precisely the difference between the life you are living and the life you are capable of living. Small is not small when it is consistent. Daily is not ordinary when it is intentional. This is where everything comes together: the reclaimed time, the aligned priorities, the trained focus, the elevated self-worth, All of it converges in this one simple but profound daily practice of showing up. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but faithfully, persistently, and with a deep understanding that every small win is a brick, and every brick laid with intention is building something that cannot be taken from you. The life you want is not waiting for a better season, a bigger opportunity, or a version of you that is finally ready. It is waiting for the you that exists right now to simply begin, and to never, ever stop. There was a time when silence was normal. A time when waiting in a line meant standing with your own thoughts. When a quiet evening meant sitting with your own mind. When boredom was simply a doorway to creativity. That time is gone. Today, the moment you experience even a flicker of discomfort, even a single second of stillness, an entire digital universe rushes in to fill the void. Notifications, videos, headlines, opinions, drama, an endless, algorithmically engineered flood of stimulation designed with one singular purpose: to keep your attention captured for as long as humanly possible. And in that environment, the ability to truly focus has not just become rare, it has become almost revolutionary. The human brain was never built for this. It was never designed to process the volume of information, the speed of content, or the constant context switching that modern life demands of it every single hour. And yet most people wake up and immediately throw their mind into that storm without a second thought. Checking phones before their feet hit the floor, consuming news before they have had a single quiet moment, fragmenting their attention into 100 tiny pieces before the day has even truly begun. Then they wonder why they feel scattered. Then they wonder why they cannot concentrate. Then they wonder why hours pass and nothing meaningful gets done. The mind was not broken. It was simply never given a chance. Focus is not something you either have or you don't. It is not a personality trait reserved for the gifted few. It is a skill, a deeply trainable, endlessly developable skill, that responds to practice exactly the way a muscle responds to resistance. Every time you sit with a difficult task and resist the urge to escape it, you are building that muscle. Every time you put the phone in another room and stay present with one single thing, you are building that muscle. Every time you choose depth over distraction, silence over noise, discomfort over convenience, you are building something inside yourself that compound interest cannot even begin to measure. Because a focused mind, trained over months and years, becomes one of the most powerful forces a human being can possess. But here is the part that nobody wants to hear. Building this muscle is genuinely hard. It is uncomfortable in ways that feel almost unbearable at first. When you sit down to do deep work and the urge hits you to check your messages, to switch tabs, to do literally anything other than the thing in front of you, that discomfort is real. It is not weakness. It is withdrawal. Your brain has been conditioned to expect constant stimulation, and when you deny it that stimulation, it will protest loudly. It will manufacture urgency out of nothing. It will convince you that everything else is more important than this moment. Learning to sit inside that discomfort without escaping it, that is where the real training begins. The people who shape industries, who build things that last, who create work that moves and inspires and changes the world, they are not superhuman. They are not operating on a different level of intelligence. What separates them, in most cases, is simply their willingness to protect long, uninterrupted stretches of concentrated effort. They treat their focused hours as sacred. They eliminate, simplify, and ruthlessly remove anything that threatens their ability to go deep. They have understood something that the distracted majority has not, that 1 hour of genuine, undivided focus produces more real progress than 5 hours of fragmented, half-present effort ever could. And the beautiful thing about this skill is that once you begin building it, once you start experiencing what it feels like to be truly locked in, fully present, fully engaged, fully alive inside your work, you will never want to go back. There is a quality of aliveness and deep focus that no notification, no scroll, no amount of digital noise can replicate. You begin to rediscover a version of yourself that the modern world had quietly buried. But focus alone, as powerful as it is, will only take you so far, because even the most disciplined mind, even the sharpest concentration, will eventually crack if the foundation beneath it is hollow. And that foundation has everything to do with something far more personal than productivity.